Alright, so let's see here. I'm going to begin with, we're going to do a VPN on these servers. I've already got a number of servers with VPN configured, so this is going to add to the number of servers that I have with VPN. And we're going to use this article with that. I thought I had already done that, but anyway. So this is my how-to WordPress site, and I already wrote the article. Well, most of the time I don't write the article, I write the article after, but this time I figured I can just use the article then, rather than having to explain it through the sources and bounce around so much, because this is going to be pretty quick, I think. Basically, setting up this is not too hard, so we'll start at the beginning here. Again, this is WordPress howshowto.com, so just wp.howshowto.com, and this has got the synopsis here. What is VPN? What is VPnCloud? And then you get into the actual work here. So let's get started with the real stuff here. So the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to add the needed Debian packages to the system, which I just copy and paste here. Alright, so setting up VPnCloud, so that's done. And then we're going to get into a little bit of discussion here in a little bit. But this is pretty much it. Whoops. I forgot to copy. I ran it again. Run my previous one again. There. Okay. Alright, so this is a YAML file. I don't know if you guys are very familiar with YAML. It's just another form of communication that's available. Let's see, I'm going to open up on this one. Let's see. Just bear with me while I get the... There, that's what I needed. So for this configuration, I'm not going to change the port here. Oops. I'm simply going to go in and add. I said oops because I accidentally clicked inside my editor on my other Linux, so it copied it in over itself again. It's fine. Alright, so what is VPnCloud real quick here? It's going to be listening on 3210 like these others are, 3210 as well. And then there's these two that are behind this VPN local. You notice they're listening on 3210 and 3211. And that's so that I could actually punch holes in the firewall and have them go to the respective clients. Now, you don't really need to do that with this because it is capable of traversing the NAT, but the benefit to doing that is you get a quicker connection established, and it seems a little more true. Whereas if you have it, depending on your firewall, depending on a lot of things, but a standard home firewall, with the typical routers that you have, they're not as sophisticated as the ones that you get in a production environment, a server room, for instance, or a enterprise level NAT or firewall. So it's usually a little more easy to traverse that as opposed to a real enterprise grade firewall, because some of those, they may have deny any on the outbound as well, and only allows very, very specific communication out. Now, I found that, this cloud or VPnCloud can get through quite a bit of that without too much trouble. But I find that if I don't open those ports, I would say the quality of the pings and things that you see, the quality of the data, because it's using UDP to transmit. So, that's the best way to set it up. I mean, you could set it up with TCP, but then there's that overhead of TCP, and if packets fail, and it seems to work just fine UDP, and most of these types run in a UDP fashion because it's not so stringent on receiving every packet, which can slow you down, actually. It's just easier to retransmit when it needs it and re-inline it on the client side of the peer and rebroadcast it, as opposed to try to wait for it to come through the network and then rebroadcast it. There's a lot more controls around TCP than there is UDP. That's why UDP is used a lot of times. Now, you see what I've done here so far is I've just put the peers in right here. And I've left that at 3210 because that'll be fine for what I'm doing. You can see how many are running at 3210. Like I say, the only ones that aren't running at 3210 are ones that are also behind a NAT, and I wanted a better connection. So this is the basic setup of what it would look like. And there's another server in this list that I want to add. Like I say, this is YAML, so if you don't put this in right, in the right spacing, it'll fail out. And that's also on 3210. And then there's crypto here. You just set the password. And because I'm doing this video, I'm not going to put the real password in here. I'm just going to put Alright, so we're just modifying this to get it working. Device, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, this. I like to turn, there's a little warning. You should set this to true. True. Not true. True. Whatever. I just spelled it. And then set claims. This is really super easy to set up, though. I mean, it's one of the easiest compared to Wireguard. I don't know if you've ever tried to set up Wireguard. Don't get me wrong, Wireguard is awesome. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying setup-wise is a pain. And I know that this is 24 because this is what it was before I re-imaged it, or 10.1.1.2, and I'm setting static IPs here for now. I mean, I'm not doing any kind of crazy, name resolution or anything really on here. I'm just setting it up, and that's about it right here. This is all you need to do to set this up, as far as what's necessary. So now that I've showed you kind of what is in this file, make sure you set your peers. If you have to set your port, if something's running on that port, if you have another VPN, whatever, each VPN. This is one of the things he says every VPN needs a different port number. He's referring to every VPN node, or not every VPN node, but every VPN network you create should have its own port number. Don't share port numbers with the same. In other words, you can set up multiple VPNs, okay? And you can see down here, it gives it a name right here. Name VpnCloud %D. So that's how it does it. It's going to pick 01, I think, or 1. I can't remember which it picks, but you'll see when we get to that point. But you can have multiple VPN networks with different subnets. You're going to have a different subnet. Don't be mixing subnets. Try to keep them separate, unless you're going to have some sort of like gatewaying and stuff like that. But whatever. You know, typically you're going to set this up with different subnets on those VPNs. That's why you're having a different VPN. Otherwise, why wouldn't you just put it on the same VPN? I don't know. I wouldn't understand why you would have two VPNs going to the same subnet for any other reason on the same box. It just doesn't make sense. But anyway, if there is, maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, as far as, you know, this is concerned, you know, this is the very basic setup. I mean, if you look, I'm not using half of the stuff that's in here. I'm just setting a password. I'm not setting private public keys, a trusted key. That's all very similar to Wireguard right here, where you have a private key, public key, and you can set a trusted key. That's very, very similar to Wireguard. What the difference is between this and Wireguard is this does not require a kernel modification. So it's much, much easier to install from what I've seen. With Wireguard, when you install it, I have to put the Linux headers in place, and you have to make sure you're on the right package with Debian 10 because it isn't in the main package. There's a number of things to get Wireguard just to install, and then I spent days trying to get Wireguard to install right. And I got this working in no time at all because it's so simple. As long as you respect the YAML format that he's went to with this. The older one didn't have YAML. It was a very simple config file, the 1.0 version. This is 2.0 now. So anyway, with that all set up, this is all that's necessary. I'm going to pause the video and fix my password, and then once I come back, we can discuss the next part. Okay guys, I'm back. I just came back after I set the password there. So really now, what's next? Okay, let's go through this. I've set alshowto.net. So I've got this alshowto.net out on VPN under VPnCloud here under ECT. That's really all there is. Password protection, standalone private subnet. It's set at this. 256 IP, static IP, no DHCP. You know, yeah, that other stuff can be added depending on. There's so many different configurations you can do with this thing. It's crazy, but this is very basic. I'm connecting two servers together. You know, that's kind of the example of what I'm trying to show here. So, and then we're setting. We're gonna nano in. Oh, I already did that. So, all right. So this is just kind of showing a quick little blurb here. I'm going to skip the next page because we kind of talked about, well, here, I'll go into the next page. I wasn't going to, but it goes along the lines of that comment about ports. Discussion of ports. You know, I kind of mentioned that he's talking about different VPNs, not different nodes, with the exception of if your nodes are behind the same NAT, which I explained as well. If your nodes are behind the same NAT, then it's best to have different ports for each of those nodes that are behind that same NAT network. So in other words, if you put one at 3210, put one that's on that same NATed network at 3211, and if there's another, then put it at 3211, 3212, just to keep it happy. You know, that's going to give you the best way for it to navigate the network address translation that's there. And here's why I say that. And you know, you get to this, and you know, there's a frequently asked questions here that I've linked for the actual website. You know, the developer behind this. Does VPnCloud support nodes behind network address translated gateway? Yes, VPnCloud does. You can read this. I'm not going to read this all for you. You can help the nodes by using unique ports for the nodes that are behind the same NAT. That's what I was talking about. You know, that last line of the last paragraph, I guess I should say in here, but I don't specifically call that one out. But it's this last line here, that where he's saying that you can help the nodes by using unique ports for the nodes that are behind that same network that's NATed. So that's where the port thing kind of is a little bit unclear, and I hope this clears it up. I hope it's clearer than mud, I guess you could say. But anyway, let's go on. The next step is back to setup. We've gone through the YAML pretty good. This is just a full YAML, the full YAML that I already kind of showed you. So let's see. I think that's all that's on that one is the YAML. And then we get into setting up. Okay, so you saw how much there was to setting this up. Now we're just going to... The proof is in the pudding if I got this right. And if I don't, it's a good troubleshooting session at that point. I probably shouldn't sing. It's bad. Well, there we go. Alright, so you saw no error. So that's a good thing. Let's see about this. We're going to check the status. Auto-claiming. So we already got 1, 2, 2, 2. We got 10, 1, 1, 2. Alright. So we're good. We got the good output listed in here. And then you look here, I got the bad output listed below. So, you can kind of dig through that if you're interested. But I got the good output. So, well, I didn't mention in here about trying, the network out. But basically, to try it out, you're just going to ping it. That's the easiest way. 10.1.1.1 should be up. Yep, there it is. It is working. Good. 111 has been having trouble. I got to go look and see. I must have something weird with 111. And of course, 2 is going to have a good ping rate because it's that one. But you can see how many. The 3 is not showing up yet. It's not natted through all the way because. Now remember, I don't know that I set up anything. I think I have UFW on here. Uncomplicated firewall. Let's just see UFW status. Yeah, you can see I don't even have the firewall opened up on this thing. That's what I was talking about. That you really don't even need to open the ports. It can kind of figure it out. But sometimes in that, it takes a few minutes for everything to kind of filter through. As you can see now, it's pinging. So you just had to be patient. It's sometimes got to traverse all those different nodes to figure out the best way to get there. See, now that one's still not pinging. Let's see, I got 5, I think. Yep. And then another thing you can do is you can SSH into these things, Let me remember SSH. I can't remember what 5 is. So the easiest way to find out what 5 is just SSH into it. I'll just use my root. And then I'm just going to go 10.1.1.5. I'm just going to SSH right into the thing. And then it's going to ask me for the signature thingy. I'm going to say yes. Hey, there we go. We're in. And then now that we're in, now I'm in name server 2. So, IPA on this one. I wanted to show you that. Now I'm on a different server. But that's the power of this, is that, I'm now interconnecting. I can SCP, use that to transfer files, between all these servers, and they're running on different, completely separate. You can tell by the ping rates, that they're not always close. Some are close, some are far. You get different ping rates and all of that. So, like this server right now is running on Namecheap, and it's connected to one on OVH. It's connected to one that's on IOStream, I think it is. And then there's another one that I have that's on. I'm just really going crazy on VPS servers right now, and just kind of configuring all this different stuff just to kind of get familiar with it and give some of these videos out. Anyway, this is it right here. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it other than it just works. Wireguard does too. Don't get me wrong, but as far as setup goes, it seems pretty secure. They're using good compression. I don't know. Well, I'm just going to have to see if somebody hacks in, and then I'll have a report on it, you know. But I'm constantly looking for that kind of stuff because, you know, there's just so much going on with this. It's, you know, there's a lot of vectors that this stuff introduces by doing that. So you have to be aware. Every vector you add adds a potential security hole to your system. That's the thing about security. But by being able to not open ports and do those things, these mesh networks actually kind of help with security because you're not exposing that server's ports directly. That doesn't mean that there aren't ways to hack into the mesh network. And those are the kinds of things that you have to concern yourself with any of this kind of stuff. But there, you know, you can add better than password. You know, it's just like SSH. You know, SSH does password, but you can add public private key to it, and that really solidifies the security behind it. So I would recommend that. And if you want to go enterprise level, use the public private key with the shared key. That's very similar to Wireshark or Wireguard, and that's going to give you the kind of security that you would use in an enterprise level. I don't know about performance-wise, comparing the two. That would be a nice video to do at some point. But anyway, this is where I'm at. I figured this was good, so I'm going to end it now. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, just let me know, okay? Talk to you guys.